at the 17,000 BTU unit, 8461 on the evaporator. Condenser is 120, so it is drawing more power than it should. Because the condenser is so high, so we would typically expect this temperature to be no more than 20 degrees, or I'm sorry, no more than 15 degrees from the incoming water temperature, which is about 85 right here. I just set the unit to full fan speed, so for the unit to be running at full capacity. The strainer's clear. So I'm getting ready to do my descale, so I'll go through that. You can see that I do have, I mean, there's decent water flow, but the water's still running too hot, so I'm going to go through the descale process. I'll show you when I have everything hooked up. It's been running for a few more minutes and the door's been open, so that's why the temperature hasn't really changed in here. You see that I'm raising up. I'm now at 120, 124, 125. And what I'd like to look at as well is where my loads are at. So we're going to see what the difference is after the descaling as well to show. You'll see that the outlet of the pump comes over here. That's going to my my back flushing systems. System's off. On my inlet, I removed my bleeding valve. So you can see the bleeding valve sitting on top of my water tank. That's my bleeding valve. I put on a fitting directly on there, and that's the hose that's coming back into my bucket, and that's the return. I'm gonna now fill this with water. I'm gonna run the pump to see if there's any water leaks. And if everything's good, I'm then gonna add my descale solution. Okay, so connection over here. I had a small leak initially. I fixed that so there's no more dripping. Here we have the tank. I have the water draining in. So that's the condition of the water that was in the system. So I'm gonna pour this water out, start with the fresh batch and start with the descale solution. And then we come down over here, and also no dripping on this outlet either. So I just started at 1140. So we're gonna periodically check. So I had cleaned the bucket out. See a ton more stuff in there. So I kind of got caught up on a different project, but now it's, so an hour's passed, it's 12:49, we're an hour and 10 minutes. This is what the solution looks like now. So what I'm going to do is start disconnecting everything. I'm going to flush the system with fresh water, and I'm going to start the system up and see what the difference is. Okay, so I have my hose is disconnected. I now have everything back to the way it was. So this hose is loose, it's just sitting down in there, but I put my bleeding valve back in. See the water flow now. I mean, there's the unit just started up. So we're going to see where this ends up. Remember that when I started this descale, I was right around 125 degrees. I was drawing about 900 watts. So right here I'm at 672, but it's a variable capacity system, so let's see where I'm at under full capacity. Alright, so looking at the unit now, so we got the cabin down from mid-90s, I think it was like 94 when we started the system up. Now I'm down to 84. So we had seen the condenser going up about 103 as I recall. I now have the condenser at 110. Now remember, we had started with it was about 125. Just sounds like the water's a bit warmer than I thought it was. Plus the water here is very shallow where my boat is. So still a significant improvement, 15 degrees cooler on the condenser. The unit's down to drying 916 watts is where it's kind of plateaued at. So I would say once again, successful descaling, you can see an improvement on the water flow off the side. You can see a huge improvement on the condenser temperature of the system. And on top of that, we can see that the power draw has been decreased. So now the system is good for another, we'll say, about a year. That's typically the recommended aspect or the recommended time frame to do a descale, and that once again depends on the use. My system in particular is always running 24/7. And I realized in the video you couldn't see anything, so I figured I would show. So once again, return temperature 84, evaporator temperature 57, condenser temperature 110. And then over here on the AC loads, you can see 920, 918, 923, so about 920.